The research ship Harmony's Edge drifted silently through the cold darkness of space. Inside the vessel, Kale Morthana pressed his pale blue hands against the main console and tried not to panic. The engine had died 3 hours ago and all his attempts to restart it had failed. Any luck with the communications array? Kale asked his partner, Yira Velnathi, who was working frantically at another station. Yira shook her head, her long silver hair falling across her face. The quantum transmitter is completely dead. I can only get basic radio frequencies working. She paused and looked at him with worry in her large violet eyes. That's ancient technology, Kyle. No civilized species uses radio waves anymore. Kyle walked to the main viewing port and stared out at the stars. Somewhere out there was home, but it might as well have been in another universe. The Villani were a peaceful people who had spread across many worlds through trade and science, not war. Their ships were built for research and exploration, not for surviving disasters like this. How long do we have? He asked quietly. Life support will last maybe 70 hours, Yira replied. Less if we can't fix the heating system. Behind them, the other 45 crew members worked at their stations, trying to repair what could be fixed and save what could be saved. They were all scientists, researchers, and explorers. None of them had ever faced death like this before. Dr. Lyra Zenthai, the ship's chief medical officer, approached them. Captain Thal wants to see you both on the bridge, she said softly. They found Commander Thal Quindar standing over the navigation console, his usually calm face showing deep worry. Thal was older than most of the crew, and his green skin had the pale color that came with stress. We need to send a distress signal, Thal said without looking up. Any signal on any frequency that might reach someone. Sir, Yira said carefully, the nearest Villani outpost is 12 light years away. Even if they received our signal immediately, it would take their fastest ships 8 days to reach us. Then we send it anyway, Thal replied firmly, and we send it on every frequency we can manage, including those primitive radio waves. Maybe someone else is listening. Kale felt a chill that had nothing to do with the failing heating system. Sir, you're talking about contacting unknown species. We don't know what's out here. We know what happens if we don't try, Thal said, finally looking at them. 47 good people die in the darkness and nobody ever knows what happened to us. Yira nodded slowly. I can boost the radio transmitter by linking it to the emergency power cells. It won't last long, but it might reach farther than normal. Do it, Thal ordered. For the next 2 hours, Yira worked to modify the communication system. Kyle helped where he could, but mostly he watched the slow countdown of their life support systems. Every minute that passed was a minute they couldn't get back. Finally, Yira stepped back from her work. It's ready, Commander. I can broadcast on multiple frequencies at once, including several radio bands. What should we say? Kale asked. Thal thought for a moment. The truth. We're peaceful explorers in need of help. We'll include our location, our situation, and... He paused. And our gratitude to anyone who might hear us. Yira began the transmission. Her voice was clear and calm as she spoke in the common galactic language, then repeated the message in ancient Villani, and finally in the mathematical codes that any space-traveling species should understand. This is the research vessel Harmony's Edge of the Villani Confederation. We are explorers on a mission of scientific discovery. Our ship has suffered critical system failure at coordinates 2847.6 by 1923.4 by 856.2. We have 47 crew members and approximately 68 hours of life support remaining. We are a peaceful people seeking only knowledge and friendship with all species. If anyone receives this message, please help us. We will be forever grateful to any who come to our aid. She broadcast the message on loop, sending it out into the vast emptiness of space. The radio waves spread in all directions, growing weaker with distance but carrying their desperate plea to anyone who might be listening. Now we wait, Thal said quietly. The hours passed slowly. The crew tried to stay busy with repairs and maintenance, but everyone knew they were just passing time. The ship grew colder as the heating system struggled. Some of the crew had already started wearing extra layers of clothing. Kale found himself returning to the viewing port again and again, staring out at the stars. Somewhere among those points of light might be worlds with people who could help them, or maybe there was nothing but empty space and distant suns. Kale? Yira called from her station. I'm picking up something strange. He hurried over to her console. What kind of strange? Energy signatures. Very faint, but they're artificial. And they're moving. She adjusted her controls, trying to get a clearer reading. Actually, there are several of them. They're big, Kale. Much bigger than our ship. Commander Thal joined them at the communications station. Could they have heard our signal? It's possible, Yira said, but her voice was uncertain. The timing would be right, but the energy patterns are unlike anything in our databases. Maybe they're just passing through, Kale suggested hopefully. No, Yira shook her head. They've changed course. They're definitely coming toward us. A mix of hope and fear spread through the crew as word of the approaching ships reached everyone. They might be rescued, but they had no idea who or what was coming to find them. Can you tell how many ships? Thal asked. Yira worked at her controls for several minutes. At least 10, maybe more. They're still too far away to get accurate readings, but Commander... She looked up at him with wide eyes. Based on the energy signatures, these ships are huge, and they're heavily armed. The bridge fell silent except for the quiet hum of the failing life support systems. Their distress call had been answered, but maybe not by the kind of people they had hoped to meet. How long until they arrive? Thal asked quietly. At their current speed, about 6 hours, Yira replied. 6 hours to live or die. 6 hours to discover if their rescue would come from friends or enemies. 6 hours to learn what kind of beings traveled the darkness between stars in massive warships. All they could do now was wait and hope that whoever was coming would prove to be the answer to their prayers rather than their worst nightmare. Admiral Park Do-hyun sat in his command chair aboard the orbital station New Seoul, studying the strange transmission that had arrived 30 minutes ago. The message was clearly a distress call, but it came from coordinates far beyond any known human territory. Sir, Communications Officer Lieutenant Han Sujin said from her station, I've confirmed the signal is genuine. The mathematical codes check out and the energy patterns match a real starship in distress. Any idea what species sent it? Do-hyun asked. Unknown, sir. The language is completely new to our databases, but the message structure suggests a peaceful scientific culture. They specifically mentioned being explorers and emphasized their non-violent nature. Do-hyun stood and walked to the main display, where the alien message played on repeat. He had served in the Earth Defense Force for 20 years, rising through the ranks during humanity's first steps into space. This was exactly the kind of situation that could change everything. Get me Captain Lee Hyunwoo, he ordered. Within minutes, Captain Lee appeared on the main screen. He was aboard the battlecruiser Seoul's Pride, currently on patrol near the outer system. Lee was one of the best ship commanders in the fleet, known for his quick thinking and steady nerves. Captain, we have a first contact situation, Do-hyun explained, then played the alien distress call. I'm ordering you to take a rescue fleet to these coordinates immediately. Lee studied the star charts that appeared on his screen. Sir, that's 3 days' travel at maximum speed. If their life support estimates are accurate, we'll barely make it in time. Then you'd better leave now, Do-hyun replied. Take 12 ships. I want medical vessels, engineering support, and full military escort. We don't know what we're walking into out there. Understood, sir. What are our rules of engagement? Do-hyun thought carefully. Primary mission is rescue and aid. But Captain, this could be a trap or there might be hostile forces in the area. Keep your weapons ready and trust your instincts, Lee nodded. We'll be ready to depart in 1 hour. As the transmission ended, Do-hyun turned to his science officer. Get Dr. Kim Nari up here immediately. If we're about to make first contact, I want our best xenobiologist on this. Dr. Kim Nari arrived within minutes, slightly out of breath from running through the station corridors. She was young for her position, but her work on theoretical alien biology had earned her respect throughout the scientific community. Sir, I heard about the transmission, she said excitedly. This is incredible. First contact with a completely unknown species. Save the excitement, Doctor, Do-hyun said, though he wasn't unsympathetic. I need you on Captain Lee's ship in 50 minutes. Your job is to figure out their biology so we can actually help them if they're injured. Of course, sir. Do we know anything about their physical characteristics? Nothing concrete, but prepare for anything. If they're space travelers, they could be completely different from Earth life. Meanwhile, aboard the Seoul's Pride, Captain Lee was organizing the rescue fleet. The ships gathered quickly, 2 medical cruisers, 3 engineering vessels, 4 escort destroyers, 2 supply ships, and his own battle cruiser leading the formation. Engineer Choi Min-ho reported to the bridge with his preliminary analysis. Captain, I've studied the alien distress call. Their technology appears to be roughly equivalent to ours, maybe slightly more advanced in some areas. The good news is that means we should be able to help with their repairs. What about the bad news? Lee asked. Their ship design is completely unknown. We'll have to figure out their systems on the spot, probably while their crew is dying around us. Lee nodded grimly. What's our travel time? 71 hours at maximum sustainable speed, replied Navigation Officer Park Ji-won. That gives us maybe 3 hours of margin, assuming their life support estimates were accurate. Then we'd better not waste any time, Lee said. All ships prepare for immediate departure. The human fleet jumped to hyperspace exactly 58 minutes after receiving the alien distress call. 12 ships traveling at their maximum speed, racing against time to save people they had never met. Dr. Kim Nari spent the journey preparing everything she could think of. She loaded her computers with every piece of theoretical xenobiology research ever conducted. She prepared medical equipment that could adapt to unknown biologies. Most importantly, she worked with Engineer Choi to create communication devices that might work with alien technology. The problem, she explained to Captain Lee during one of their planning sessions, is that we have no idea what these aliens even look like. They could be carbon-based like us or silicon-based or something completely different. Their atmosphere might be toxic to us or ours might be toxic to them. What's your recommendation? Lee asked. Full environmental suits for all contact teams. Remote communications until we're sure it's safe. And we should assume they're as scared of us as we might be of them. Engineer Choi had his own concerns. Captain, there's something else to consider. Our ships are built for military operations. To these aliens, we might look like an invasion force rather than a rescue fleet. Lee studied the tactical display showing their formation. Choi was right. The battlecruiser Soul's Pride alone carried enough firepower to destroy a small planet. The escort destroyers were bristling with weapons and armor. Even the medical ships looked militaristic compared to what they imagined alien research vessels might look like. Recommendations? Lee asked. We approach slowly and broadcast peaceful intentions on all frequencies, Choi suggested. Maybe we should put the medical ships in front of the formation. Good thinking. Dr. Kim, can you prepare a message that clearly identifies us as rescuers? I'm already working on it, Nari replied. Mathematical concepts, universal constants, and basic pictographs showing medical aid and repair assistance. As the hours passed, the human fleet pushed through hyperspace toward their destination. Every crew member understood the importance of their mission. This wasn't just about saving alien lives. It was about humanity's first impression on the galactic stage. 12 hours to arrival, Park Ji-won announced. Captain Lee looked around his bridge at the dedicated crew members who would soon make history. All right, people. We're about to become humanity's first ambassadors to an alien species. Let's make sure we do it right. The countdown continued as the human fleet raced toward their appointment with Destiny, carrying medical supplies, engineering equipment, and enough firepower to handle whatever they might find waiting in the darkness of space. Unknown to them, the aliens they were rushing to save were already detecting their approach, and the massive energy signatures of human warships were causing panic among the peaceful researchers who had sent the distress call. Yira Vilnathi stared at her console in growing terror. The approaching ships were massive, far larger than any Vellani vessel ever built. Their energy signatures showed heavy weapons, thick armor, and power systems that could probably destroy entire fleets. Commander, she called to Thal Quindar, her voice barely steady. I'm getting clearer readings on the approaching vessels. There are 12 of them, and they're all warships. Thal moved quickly to her station, his face growing pale as he saw the readings. Are you certain? Look at these energy patterns, Yira pointed to her screen. These aren't exploration ships or traders. These are built for war. The lead vessel alone has enough firepower to crack a moon. Across the bridge, other crew members were gathering around their stations, fear spreading through the group like wildfire. Dr. Lyra Zenthai joined them, her medical tricorder shaking in her hands. What have we done? Whispered Kale Morthana. We called for help and attracted predators instead. Commander Thal tried to keep his voice calm, but everyone could hear the worry. We don't know their intentions yet. Maybe they're just well-armed traders or explorers. No, Yira shook her head firmly. I've run the patterns through our databases. These ships are designed for one thing, destroying other ships. We've called down a military fleet on ourselves. In the engineering section, Young Rin Silthea worked frantically to restore power to the defensive systems. She was barely past her training period, but she knew more about ship systems than anyone else on board. Her small hands moved quickly over the controls, trying to bring even basic shields online. "Rin," called her supervisor. "What's the status on defensive systems?" "Main shields are completely dead," she reported. "I might be able to get navigation deflectors working, but they wouldn't stop a strong laser, let alone military weapons." The supervisor's face went gray. "Keep trying anyway." Meanwhile, the human fleet continued its approach. Captain Lee Hyunwoo stood on the bridge of the Soul's Pride, watching the alien vessel grow larger on his main screen. It was unlike any ship in human databases, smooth, curved lines instead of angular military design, with what appeared to be transparent sections that might be viewing ports or gardens. "It's beautiful," Dr. Kim Nari said softly, studying the alien ship. "Look at those organic curves. This is clearly a science vessel, not a warship, which makes our approach even more problematic," Engineer Choi Minho pointed out. "To them, we probably look like we're about to attack." Captain Lee nodded. "Communications, start broadcasting our peaceful intentions on all frequencies. Use Dr. Kim's universal friendship message." Communications Officer Han Sujin began transmitting immediately. The message combined mathematical sequences, basic pictographs showing medical aid, and simple audio tones that suggested calm and peaceful intentions. Aboard the Harmony's Edge, Yira received the transmissions with confusion. "Commander, they're sending us some kind of message. It's not in any language I recognize, but the mathematical parts make sense." "What do they say?" Thal asked. "I think..." Yira worked at her translation computer. "I think they're trying to say they want to help us. Look at these symbols. They show repair work and medical assistance." "It could be a trick," Kale warned. "Predatory species often use false friendship to get close to their prey." "But why would they need tricks?" Dr. Lyra asked. "If they wanted to destroy us, they could do it easily from their current distance." As the human fleet grew closer, Rin Silthea noticed something interesting on her engineering displays. "Commander, I'm detecting small objects separating from the lead alien ship. They're heading toward us." Panic spread across the bridge. "Boarding pods?" Thal asked grimly. "Or torpedoes," Kyle added. "Either way, we're finished." But Rin studied the readings more carefully. Her young eyes caught details that the older, more frightened crew members missed. "Wait," she said slowly. "These objects are moving very slowly and they're not armed. Look at the energy patterns. Those are repair drones." "Are you sure?" Thal asked. "Positive. My training covered all kinds of spacecraft maintenance systems. These are definitely repair drones, and they're carrying welding equipment and spare parts." Dr. Kim Nari monitored the deployment from the human ship. "Captain, our engineering drones are approaching the alien vessel. I'm seeing massive damage to their engine systems and power grid. It's amazing they're still alive." "Any signs of hostile response?" Lee asked. "None, sir. In fact, I think they're as scared of us as we were worried they might be of us." The breakthrough came when Engineer Choi made direct contact with the alien engineering systems. His repair drones began working alongside the alien crew, and the universal language of technology started bridging the gap between species. Rin Silthea was the first to understand. As she watched human repair drones carefully fixing her ship's damaged systems, she realized these weren't invaders at all. They were rescuers who just happened to look frightening. "Commander," she called excitedly, "these aren't weapons. They're tools. Look at what they're doing. They're actually repairing our engine." She activated her own engineering communicator and began transmitting technical data to the human drones. The response was immediate and encouraging. The alien drones began adapting their repair techniques to work with Villani technology. "It's working," Rin announced. "They understand our systems and they're actually making repairs." Commander Thal watched in amazement as human and Villani technology worked together. "Yira, open a direct communication channel to their lead ship. Use standard peaceful contact protocols. Channel open." "Sir, unknown vessels," Thal broadcast. "This is Commander Thal Quindar of the Villani research ship Harmony's Edge. We thank you for responding to our distress call. We are peaceful explorers and mean no harm to anyone." The response came quickly. Captain Lee's voice was calm and reassuring. "Commander Thal, this is Captain Lee Hunwoo of the Earth vessel Soul's Pride. We received your distress signal and came to offer assistance. We also are peaceful explorers and we're honored to make first contact with your people." "Earth?" Thal asked. We're not familiar with that world. It's our home planet, Lee explained. We're called humans, and we've only recently developed faster-than-light travel. Your distress call was the first alien communication we've ever received. Dr. Kim Nari added her voice to the transmission. Commander, I'm Dr. Kim Nari, a specialist in biological sciences. Do any of your crew need medical attention? We have advanced medical equipment and we want to help. The tension on both ships began to ease as communication continued. Engineer Choi worked with Rin to coordinate the repair efforts, while Dr. Kim and Dr. Lyra exchanged basic medical information to ensure the safety of both crews. Captain Lee, Commander Thal said, we owe you a debt we can never repay. You've saved 47 lives today. No debt necessary, Lee replied. We believe in helping those in need. That's what good neighbors do. As the repairs continued and communication improved, both species began to realize they had found something remarkable in the vast emptiness of space. Friends. The repair work continued for 8 hours. During that time, both crews learned more about each other than either had expected. Dr. Kim Nari and Dr. Lyra Zenthai worked together to establish medical compatibility protocols, while Engineer Choi Minho and young Rin Silthia collaborated on repairing the damaged Villani systems. Dr. Kim, Lyra asked during one of their communication sessions, your people seem very strong. Our medical readings show bone density and muscle mass far beyond what we thought possible for intelligent species. Kim paused before answering. Dr. Lyra, you might find this hard to believe, but humans aren't particularly strong compared to other life on our world. We're actually considered quite fragile by Earth standards. I don't understand, Lyra replied, confusion clear in her voice. Our planet is what we call a heavy world, Kim explained. The gravity is much stronger than what you're used to. The air pressure is higher. The weather can be deadly, and we share our world with creatures that could easily kill us. Commander Thal, who had been listening to the conversation, joined in. Dr. Kim, are you saying that Earth is a dangerous place to live? Very dangerous, Kim confirmed. We have storms that can destroy entire cities. Earthquakes that split the ground open. Diseases that have killed millions of our people throughout history. And that's just the natural disasters. Captain Lee added his voice to the explanation. We also have predatory animals, creatures that hunt and kill for food. Many of them are much larger and stronger than humans. The Villani crew listened in growing amazement and horror. In their peaceful society, natural disasters were rare and manageable. Predatory behavior was almost unknown among intelligent species, and their world was carefully maintained to be safe and comfortable. How do you survive? Asked Yuravel Nathi, genuinely curious. We adapt, Lee replied simply. We build stronger structures to resist earthquakes and storms. We develop medicine to fight diseases. We learn to defend ourselves against predators. We work together to overcome challenges that would destroy us individually. Engineer Park Ji-won, who had joined the conversation from the human supply ship, shared more details. Our technology reflects our world, Commander Thal. We build everything to be tough and reliable because it has to work even in terrible conditions. That's why our ships look so heavily armored to you. They're built to survive anything. Including war? Thal asked quietly. The question created an uncomfortable silence on both sides. Finally, Captain Lee answered honestly, yes, including war. Humans have fought each other throughout our history. We've learned to make weapons and defensive systems because sometimes we've had to. But you came to help us, Rin pointed out. You could have ignored our signal or taken advantage of our helpless situation. Instead, you risked your own safety to save strangers. That's also part of being human, Dr. Kim explained. We protect those who can't protect themselves. We help those in need. Just because we know how to fight doesn't mean we want to fight. Historian Zeph Nalthaisa, who had been quietly recording everything for the Villani archives, spoke up. This is fascinating. Your species developed intelligence while facing constant threats to survival. This explains your advanced military technology and your quick response to our distress call. What do you mean? Lee asked. Among the Villani, we have a saying, peace comes from safety, but strength comes from struggle. Your people have become strong because your world forced you to be strong. As the conversation continued, both species began to understand just how different their evolutionary paths had been. The Villani had evolved on a peaceful world with few natural threats. They had developed advanced science and technology focused on exploration and discovery. Their society had never needed weapons or military organizations. Humans, by contrast, had fought for survival every day of their existence. They had developed technology that was robust, reliable, and often designed for combat situations. Their society was organized around the principle that threats could come at any time and must be met with strength. "There's something else," Dr. Kim said carefully. "Captain Lee, should we tell them about the classifications?" Lee considered this. "I think they should know." "What classifications?" Commander Thal asked. "In our databases, we classify planets based on how dangerous they are to human life," Kim explained. "Earth is what we call a Class 12 death world, a planet so dangerous that most other intelligent species couldn't survive there without major technological assistance." "Death world?" Hira repeated, her voice filled with shock. "The gravity alone would probably crush most of your people," Engineer Choi added matter-of-factly. "The air pressure would damage your lungs. The weather would kill you within hours. And that's assuming you could even breathe our atmosphere, which contains toxins that many species can't process." The Villani crew fell silent as they processed this information. They had been rescued by beings from a world so hostile that it would kill them just by being there. "Yet you've created art, music, literature," Zeph said wonderingly. "Rin showed me some of your cultural files. They're beautiful." "Beauty comes from struggle too," Park Ji-won said. "When life is hard, people create beautiful things to remind themselves why life is worth living. And you help others," Dr. Lyra added. "Despite coming from such a harsh world, you risk yourselves to save strangers." "Maybe because of it," Captain Lee suggested. "When you know how dangerous the universe can be, you appreciate kindness even more." The conversation was interrupted by an alarm from Yira's sensor station. "Commander, I'm detecting new energy signatures approaching our position. Multiple vessels, very large, coming from the opposite direction of our human friends." The relaxed atmosphere on both ships immediately became tense. Captain Lee's voice took on a sharp professional tone. "Can you identify them?" Yira worked frantically at her controls. "Energy patterns match—" "Oh no, Commander, those are Corvani harvesters." "What are Corvani harvesters?" Lee asked, but he could already tell from the Villani reactions that this wasn't good news. "Predators," Thal replied grimly. "They travel through space looking for ships like ours. They take our people for food and experimentation. No one has ever successfully resisted them." "How many ships?" Lee demanded. 36 vessels, Yira reported, her voice shaking. "All of them larger than your biggest ship." Captain Lee was quiet for a moment. Then his voice came back calm and determined. "Commander Thal, I need you to take your ship to a safe distance immediately. Dr. Kim, return to the medical vessel and prepare for casualties." "Captain, what are you planning?" Thal asked. "We're going to show these Corvani what happens when predators meet apex predators," Lee replied. "All human vessels, battle stations. It looks like we're about to teach the galaxy something new about Deathworld species." The peaceful first contact was about to become something much more dangerous, and the Villani were about to discover what humans did when innocent people were threatened by predators. The Corvani harvester fleet emerged from hyperspace like a pack of hungry wolves. 36 bioships, each one grown rather than built, stretched across several kilometers of space. Their hulls pulsed with organic rhythms, and weapon ports that looked like massive mouths opened along their sides. Fleet leader Vascathol commanded the harvester fleet from his flagship, a massive creature ship that had consumed the life force of dozens of worlds. When his scouts had detected the distress signal, he had been pleased. Disabled ships meant easy prey, and the energy signatures suggested a species his people had never tasted before. "What do we have?" he asked his sensor operator. "One disabled vessel appears to be a research ship. Small crew, probably 40 or 50 beings. But fleet leader," the operator hesitated. "Speak. There are other ships present. 12 vessels of unknown design. They appear to be guarding the disabled ship." Vascathol laughed, a sound like grinding bones. "Guardians? How amusing. Probably some primitive military thinking they can protect their research vessel. This will make the harvest more entertaining. Shall we demand surrender?" the operator asked. "No, we take what we want. If they resist, we harvest them too." Meanwhile, aboard the human fleet, Captain Lee Hyunwoo was rapidly reorganizing his ships for combat. The peaceful rescue mission had just become something much more serious. "All vessels assume combat formation Delta 7, he ordered. "Medical ships to the rear, supply vessels behind them. Combat ships form a protective screen around the alien vessel." Marine Commander Oh Tae-hyun appeared on the main screen from the destroyer Busan's Hammer. "Captain, what are our rules of engagement?" "The aliens say these Korvani are predators who harvest intelligent species for food," Lee replied coldly. "I'd say that makes them a threat to all sentient life. You are authorized to use all necessary force." "Understood, sir. My Marines are ready if they try to board." Dr. Song Miran, the fleet's xenogeologist, was analyzing the approaching enemy ships from her position aboard the science vessel Daegu Explorer. "Captain, these aren't machines. They're grown, like living creatures. The hulls appear to be some kind of bioarmor, and I'm detecting organic neural networks controlling their systems." "Are they ships or animals?" Lee asked. "Both, I think. They've somehow merged biology with technology to create living warships." Aboard the Harmony's Edge, the Villani crew watched in terror as the Korvani fleet approached. They had heard stories of these predators, whispered tales of entire research stations that had simply vanished without a trace. "They're contacting us," Yura reported, her hands shaking on the controls. "Put it through," Commander Thal ordered. The voice that came through the speakers was cold and hungry. "Small ship, you will prepare to be harvested. Your crew will provide sustenance for the Korvani Empire. Surrender now and your death will be quick." "Unknown vessels," Captain Lee's voice cut across the communication channel. "This is Captain Lee Hyunwoo of the Earth Defense Force. You are threatening peaceful researchers under our protection. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." There was a moment of silence, then harsh laughter from the Korvani leader. "Earth never heard of it. Small Guardian fleet, you are outnumbered 3-1. You cannot protect your prey from us." "Prey?" Lee's voice became dangerously quiet. "Commander Thal, take your ship to minimum safe distance. Things are about to get very loud out here." The Harmony's Edge retreated to a position several kilometers away, just close enough for their sensors to record what happened next. Fleet Leader Vascathol studied the unknown ships with growing amusement. They were clearly military vessels, but they were much smaller than his harvesters. Their angular metal construction looked primitive compared to his living bioships. "All vessels advance and engage," he ordered. "Try to take some of them alive. I want to taste this new species." The Korvani fleet moved forward like a living wave, their bioweapons charging with organic energy. Acid projectors, neural disruptors, and bioplasma cannons prepared to tear apart the small human fleet. Captain Lee watched them approach with the calm of a professional warrior. "All ships weapons free. Target their largest vessels first. Show them what Deathworld technology can do." The battle began with the humans firing first. Kinetic weapons launched solid projectiles at incredible speeds, while energy weapons sent focused beams of destruction across space. The Korvani had never faced weapons designed for ship-to-ship combat between metal vessels. The bioship's organic armor, designed to resist biological weapons and energy-based attacks, proved useless against kinetic projectiles moving at significant fractions of light speed. The first Korvani vessel to take a direct hit from the Soul's Pride's main gun simply exploded, its bioarmor unable to absorb the massive kinetic energy transfer. "Impossible." Vascathol screamed as 3 more of his ships were destroyed in the first minute of combat. "How are they penetrating our bioarmor?" His weapons officer was equally confused. "Fleet leader, their weapons appear to use kinetic force rather than energy or biological agents. Our armor isn't designed to resist solid projectiles moving at these speeds." The human ships moved with precision and coordination that the Korvani had never encountered. Each vessel supported the others, creating overlapping fields of fire that caught the bioships in deadly crossfire. The humans fought like a pack, but a pack of disciplined predators rather than mindless animals. Marine Commander O's ship, the Busan's Hammer, engaged 3 Korvani vessels simultaneously. His ship's armor absorbed their bioweapon attacks while his own weapons systematically destroyed their weapon ports and propulsion systems. "Their bioplasma can't penetrate our ablative armor," he reported to Captain Lee. "And their neural disruptors don't work on our electronic systems." Dr. Song Miran, watching from the science vessel, made an important discovery. "Captain, I've figured out their weakness. These bioships need to maintain biological functions to survive. If we target their life support nodes, the glowing sections along their hulls, we can kill the entire ship." "All vessels, target the illuminated sections on enemy hulls," Lee ordered. "Those are biological critical points." The tide of battle turned completely. The Corvani found themselves facing an enemy they couldn't understand. The humans fought with ruthless efficiency, using weapons and tactics designed to destroy heavily armored opponents. Every shot was calculated, every maneuver planned to maximize damage while minimizing risk. Fleet leader Vaskthul watched in horror as his fleet was systematically destroyed. These weren't the primitive guardians he had expected. These were apex predators from a world that had taught them to kill efficiently and without mercy. All ships retreat, he finally ordered. Emergency hyperspace jump. But it was too late for most of his fleet. Of the 36 bioships that had attacked, only 8 escaped. The rest were floating dead in space, their biological systems shut down by precise targeting from weapons they had never imagined possible. Captain Lee surveyed the battlefield with grim satisfaction. All ships report status. The reports came back quickly. Minor damage to 3 vessels, no human casualties. All enemies destroyed or fled. Commander Thal, Lee called to the Villani ship. You can return to previous position. The threat has been eliminated. As the Harmony's Edge approached the human fleet, Commander Thal stared at the debris field that had once been a Corvani harvester fleet. Captain Lee, in 3,000 years of Villani history, no one has ever successfully fought off a Corvani attack. They've terrorized this entire region of space for centuries. Well, Lee replied calmly, they haven't met humans before. On Earth we have a saying, there's always a bigger fish. These Corvani just learned they're not at the top of the food chain anymore. Aboard the Harmony's Edge, young engineer Rin Silthea stared at the sensor readings in amazement. Commander, the human ships aren't even significantly damaged. It was like watching adults fight children. That's exactly what it was, Zephnal Thesa said quietly. We just witnessed what happens when a species evolved on a Deathworld encounters predators who never had to face real opposition. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity had arrived, and the age of unchallenged predators was over.